Get me that 6. We need more power.
Welcome, a master painter. I am a Bishop Milarucci, a completely non-denominational and therefore non-offensive church official who sounds vaguely like a Father Guido Sarducci, who you can look up on the internet in several hundred years when it is invented. I am commissioning painters to create one of the greatest frescoes that the mankind will ever know on the ceiling of the pristine chapel, in order to provide glory to God or gods or goddesses or goddesses or lack thereof for generations. Do you think that you have what it takes to become the greatest master painter the world has ever known? You will have a stiff competition. Other painters are here with their apprentices, and they are also vying for the title of a master of all the fresco painters. You must buy your paints and mix them, and paint the sections of the fresco, and I will award you what I have decided to call the victory points, based upon how well you do. Now, once you get close to finishing, I will kick you all off of the job and give you final victory points. The painter with the most of these victory points wins, but will never get the feeling of accomplishment of actually completing the fresco, the restoration, that is. However, there are painter groupies that really love a winner, or, so I hear. Let me give you an overview from the back of this box over here. The country's most renowned fresco painters are hired to make the magnificent cathedral ceiling painting shine like new. Now that we call it the pristine chapel, you know what I'm saying. With the 3 included expansion modules, which can be combined with the basic game as you wish. Fresco offers a constantly new game experience even to frequent players. The first module, the portraits. Second module, the bishop's request. That's me, I'm the bishop. And the third module, special blend colors. That's really all it says in English, but there's 7 other languages here. Okay, 5. But that's what the box says. Why don't we take a closer look at how you and your crew will be earning your thalers? Yes, thalers. Fresco is a game designed for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and published by Queen Games. Here, I've got the board all set up. Your main goal... Oh, I should let you see the rules first. Hold on here. There we go. Fresco. Idea del juego. Oh, sorry. Let's see. Spanish rules. El supplemento. No. Lat je bij fresco in... No, that's Netherlands. Sorry. Okay, this has got to be it. Die portraits. Interessante person... That's probably German. Concept lassen sei sich bin fresco die... No, that's... maybe German. Les portraits? Oh, that's... here we... Oh, okay. English rules. So when you open the box up and you see that there is 700 rules, most of them are in other languages. So you're really only dealing with this one and then a couple-page supplement that describes the mini expansions that are included with the game. And the rules are set up very nicely. Thank you very much. Your main goal is the center of the board here, where you'll see a lot of numbered tiles with different colors on them. Now these colors are the paints that you need to gather in order to finish this piece of the fresco. So for this one you would need to cash in a green and a red and a yellow to get 5 victory points, and then this piece of the fresco is finished. The paints are represented by these colored cubes, and you must either visit the market, which is up here, to purchase your paints, or blend your existing paints together to make a new color. And look, here's a little chart to let you know what new colors you can make. Did you know that yellow and red make orange? Who knew? To begin with, you'll have one paint cube of the 3 basic colors. You'll have 12 thalers, which is the currency of the game, and 5 apprentices, which you use to choose your actions each turn on your own little action board. Action. The main board is double-sided, and side 1 is for 2 and 3 players, and the second side is for 4 players. You keep track of victory points with one of your master painters on the track along the edge of the board. Now, the game actually features 2 screens for each player. Whee! Behind one, you'll have your paints and your money, and the other hides your actions. Because you reveal those, all players reveal their actions simultaneously each turn. But here, let me take you through a turn so that you can see how the game is actually played. Here I've zoomed in on the turn order board so that you can see how this works. Initially, you each get to choose the time that you get up in the morning to start your work day, and you choose the time based upon reverse victory point order. Initially, it's just by whose dudes come out of the bag first. So if you're in last place, you'll get to pick the time that you wake up before the other players do. The earlier that you get up, the angrier your apprentices are, and the more expensive that your paints will be. The advantage of getting up early is play your order. Get up early and you get to do your actions before the other players, which is a big plus. Now let's say Green decides he's getting up at 6 a.m. It's a -2 to his morale, and it's going to cost him 3 thalers per paint. Yellow comes in and says, well, I'm going to get up at 7 because it changes my morale 0, and it only costs me 2. And Red says, well, I'm getting up at 8 and letting them all sleep late so that they get happier, and it only costs me 1 per paint. Well, how does this affect everything? The theater is where you will see the first effect of choosing the time you wake up. Right over there. Each player has a master painter token on this track, which you adjust each turn based upon your selected wake-up time. So, Green gets a -2, so he goes down 2. Red gets a +1, so he goes up 1. Yellow is 0, doesn't move. If you move down too far on the track, you lose one of your apprentices, and you only get 4 actions that turn, because apprentice equals an action. If you move up high enough, you get to pick up an extra meeple/action each turn when you're in this +1 area over here. In the second part of the turn, you place your meeples on your secret action board. That's side 2. Sorry, side 1. Secret action board to represent what your apprentices will be doing that turn. You can see there's 3 spaces, so you can do each action up to 3 times. But you only get 5 or 6 actions, sometimes even 4, depending on how many meeples you have. So choose wisely. Now, the first action is the market. Here you choose a stall that you wish to buy from. So let's say I have 2 of my meeples on the market space. That means I can go over here and look at the 3 stalls. Now this is set up for 2 or 3 players. Remember, 4 players get 4 stalls. And I choose to buy from this one because it's got an orange, and orange is worth a lot. Got up first. I'm the green player. I got up first, so it's going to cost me 3 for each paint. That's 6. I will take both of those and exchange. They go back into the black bag, and I get green. I get orange, purple, and a red paint. I take those. I paid for them. You remove any additional paints from the stall that you didn't buy, and that stall is closed to any other players for the turn. So if I had bought from here and taken these 2, I still would have removed this one, and no other player could have bought there. You can see why the player order can be pretty important. The second action is actually restoring a section of the fresco. You can restore any section simply by returning all of the paints listed on the section to the supply and picking up the tile. So, let's say finishing that one, I toss in an orange and a blue, and then I get 4 victory points. And I move my little dude over here over to the 4. If the bishop token, which is right here, is next to or on the tile that you complete, you earn additional victory points. To this end, you can pay 1 thaler to move the bishop actually 1 square, either up or down or left or right, before you restore a tile. You can restore 1 tile per apprentice that you placed on the cathedral space on your board. You may also choose to restore the altar, which becomes a default action as the game nears its conclusion, since you can do it every turn if you wish, because you'll be running low on tiles at that point. Thirdly, you may choose to paint a portrait. Each portrait you paint will earn you 3 thalers. And fourth, you can mix your paints in the workshop to make new, exciting colors. They give you a nice little chart. Beep. And here's the advanced chart, when you can make pink and brown in the expansion, to remind you that blue and yellow make green, and so on. You can blend up to 2 paints per apprentice you use here, and all you do is place the paints you're using back into the supply and take your new color cube that you just blended. And finally, you can send one of your apprentices to the theater. Each one that you send there will raise your happiness on the track by 2 spots. Oh, I love the theater. At the end of the turn, you put all of the market tiles into the bag and you redraw them to fill up the stalls for the next turn. Each player also receives 1 thaler per section of the fresco that they have restored during the game. So 1 thaler per square that you have, basically. That's it. Play continues until there's only 6 tiles left in the cathedral, and then the final round begins. During the final round, you flip over your action boards and use side 2. There are some changes. Most notably, you get 2 opportunities to restore a fresco tile during this last round. After completing the round, you'll get 1 additional victory point for every 2 thalers that you have, and the player who's highest on the victory point track wins the game. And that is how you play Fresco from Queen Games. A Fresco is a very logically built game, which is true for most Euros. This means that your score is more based upon your skill at playing rather than the luck. It makes a great family game in my opinion, as there is really no way to screw over the other players. On the downside, this means that there is really very little player interaction aside from choosing when to wake up or by blocking a certain paint stall even if you do not intend on buying any paints from there that turn. On the plus side, you'll have a very few arguments while playing. One problem you might have is analysis paralysis. This term, if you're not familiar with it, refers to the fact that you have to think about what you're going to do on your turn. And some players have a harder time making up their minds than others because they are either unfamiliar with the game or they're simply afraid that they're going to make a mistake. Consequently, this causes their turns to take forever to complete and can easily double the length of the game. There are a few bottlenecks of this type in the game, but the one that takes the longest by far is choosing where to send your meeples each turn. It is easy to make a mistake and waste a meeple by sending them to blend paints, for example, when in reality you don't have any paints to blend. There are 3 expansions included with the game. The first allows you to select the actual portraits to paint rather than just collecting these thalers for, this stuff. And these portrait cards give you a specific bonus that apply immediately, or can potentially provide ongoing benefits the remainder of the game. This expansion also helps to speed up the game, because when you run out of portraits, the final round begins. The second expansion adds 2 new blended colors, pink and brown, for all of your pink and brown needs while you're painting the ceiling. There are additional cubes and tiles with the colors on them, and they added the potential for greater number of victory points. For example, the center tile is worth 24 points in the expansion. Very nice. The third expansion adds a special request tiles that allow you to earn additional victory points and additional income each turn. You might want to go ahead and start playing the game with all of the expansions right from the start. They add a lot of variety to the game, and by doing so, also add a lot of fun. The basic game can get boring after a while, so these expansions are a welcome addition. Fair warning, the 2-player version of the game involves a dummy player, referred to as a Leonardo. Leo's control moves from player to player each turn, and his mechanic works out well, but it provides a different game experience than playing with 3 or 4 players, and you may not like having it. Some people hate games that feature any kind of a dummy player, so I'm warning you in advance. Overall, Fresco is a great non-confrontational Euro game that would appeal to families or 2 couples getting together for some gaming. It's more of a thinking type game than a laugh out loud while playing type game, so you won't be whipping it out while you're watching the Bears game, but maybe after a nice dinner, and a glass of wine. The game is entertaining and has won multiple awards, including the 2010 Spiel des Jahres, which is a big thing in Germany for you Yankees who don't keep up on your Euro games. Hey, thank you for joining me in this review of Fresco from Queen Games. Let me know if you found this review helpful by leaving a comment or sending me an email at elliott_miller@voiceofia.com. Make sure to subscribe to the Voice of E channel on YouTube, as I'll have plenty of gaming, entertainment, and comic book coverage this year, and it should be a lot of fun. Thanks again, and until next time, you keep your mind free.
Get me that 6. We need more pounds.